Real Enigmas and Theories is back again with another video. Hey yo, what in the $5 5-minute tomfoolery was this? The Changeling started off like a cheesesteak from Delisandro's and ended up like a soggy White Castle burger. Did y'all do this shit just to sell the book or what? 29 minutes? Come on, man. Time spent watching these episodes multiple times, researching, writing footnotes, recording a voiceover, gathering all the images and video clips for the video, and then editing the video. So with all that spent and all the time that we have both invested in this show, I'm going to give you my thoughts on what we did get. I'm going to give you my theories about a season 2 if we do get a season 2. And at the end, I'm going to address a couple things that I've been seeing in my comments about people saying about they're disappointed in me. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now, what I can say is that at least a theory or two came to pass. And even though this episode was shorter than Lillian's afro, it did give clues and give us major insight on Kindergarten and who they could be. I was also right about Kindergarten summoning that monster that we saw as his so-called cavalry. I was also right about the Gale and Apollo connection. She had that red bag again in this episode, and Apollo being there to help her when she fell was foreshadowing him being the one to carry her down the rope. I don't think that we've seen the last of them two interacting, being that the boat was still in the water and vulnerable. I'm curious on why the creature stood by and let Kindergarten get his ass kicked. I mean, we know it was right there because it cut the rope. But let's back up for a minute. What was the point in even coming to the island? Willie already knew where Greta and Grace were. He sent that book. So he wasn't going to the island to get his family back. He already knew where they were, and he knew that they weren't on the island. He wasn't going there for Emma. I'm sure he knows that Emma was in the forest. Willie met Apollo after his 3 months in prison. Emma left for the woods the night after Apollo was arrested. Willie even texted Emma after she jumped out the window. So I'm sure that if Emma had went back to the woods where these creatures are, and also where Willie's house is located, I'm sure he would have known she's there. So that would make either the children or Cal the main target. Cal would be the more obvious target, but I think it was the children. These were all the survivors that made it out from the attack. But look at how many children were on this island. Now that's one of the parts that really make this episode bad, because we didn't get to see an actual attack on the island. We saw the beginning and the tail ending of the whole attack. We saw Greta on the floor looking like Flat Stanley, but what happened? Cal says she killed her. Then she sort of clarifies, saying that by sending for Greta, that she may have got her killed. This could mean two things. Cal calling Greta to the island is what got her killed, or Greta being called to the island prompted one of the Kindergarten to kill her before she left and glamour themselves to appear as Greta. Cal did say that Greta was helping the children escape, but what good did that do if all of these children were lost? Did Cal realize something with Greta and kill her? Or did Lena have something to do with all those children getting lost? Lena played the role of Angelica in Lillian's episode. Also, Willie was recording Lena while she was at Apollo's meeting. What are the odds of a woman making the same claims as Emma showing up at Apollo's meeting at the same time as old Willie? Was he there trying to help her make it look good so that Cal would accept her on the island? It would seem that she arrived there around the same time as Apollo and Willie. We see her coming from meeting with Cal, and we see her in the cafeteria when Cal was talking with Apollo. The timing of her being at that meeting with Willie and ending up on the island around the same time makes me question, why was she casted in Lillian's mind? Who is she, and what's her involvement with old Willie? Also, notice how her name is Lena, and they had the Lena Horne song in there. It just makes me think about how the guy in the bed had similarities with Willie and Lena, because he was going to see Lena Horne with a guy named Bill, which Bill is short for William. So there was a connection there. And that connection is also tied to Brian West, being that Lillian used him to play the part of the man dying in the bed. I had a theory that maybe the reason for the short episode was that the scenes showing what happened to the children may have been too graphic and had to be removed. Those scenes would have probably showed us what happened with Lena and Greta. Notice how Kindergarten says, "She's mine," when he knocks the pistol out of Cal's hand. Not only does the creature let Cal beat Kindergarten, but Kindergarten never tried to attack Apollo. He could have told the creature to throw one of them trees at them too. He just had the creature toss a tree at the boat in the water. But the creature had to be near because who drug his body away? Also, who is she? Could they be referencing the creature, Greta, or Lena? If we do get a second season, I don't think we've seen the last of Kindergarten either. It really sucks to have 29 minutes of an episode named Battle of the Island, only for it not to show us the actual battle on the island. Where did all the kids go? You know, the title credits has that picture of the swing set, and that's kind of like a reference to missing children as well. I think there could have been multiple reasons why this episode was so short, but they did leave us with a lot to think about. For instance, we got to hear baby Brian crying when Emma was approaching the merry-go-round, so I would assume that he's still alive. I believe that Apollo, Emma, and baby Brian are all unique or special in the grand scheme of things. Emma and Apollo for obvious reasons, but baby Brian was born and taken. However, it seems like he's still been kept alive. Even his changeling is still alive after all this time to bite Apollo's finger. Even when we look at the circumstances around the birth of baby Brian, they showed a newspaper article of the birth in the subway. However, it said that there were 4 teenagers when there were actually 5. The one with the locks ran to get the train conductor. Moreover, Emma was drinking from the cup of a virgin while giving birth. And the one guy said that he just moved to New York from Texas and his name was Cowboy. Them reporting 4 teenagers, of which one of them's named Cowboy, immediately made me think of the 4 horsemen. I mean, one guy's name is Cowboy, and another one literally balanced himself on the pole, symbolizing the scale of famine. Also, I have to talk about the 10,000 men of Kindergarten. Old Willie can be seen at his computer video chatting with some individuals with burlap sacks on their head. Now, we have the biblical symbolism of the 4 horsemen, but this also ties in with the religious aspect because something stood out to me in the episode when Brian spoke to Lillian. He stated that he will know her until she is dust, which is a direct biblical reference to God telling Adam about his mortality. Ashes from ashes, dust to dust. Now, there are stories in the Bible about people putting a sackcloth on their head and then putting ashes on it as a symbol of grief, desolation, or ruin. We see Apollo visit the grave of his son who is not even dead. And in the Bible, Jacob mourned the loss of his son, and he put a sack over his head and poured ashes on his head. Not to mention, his son wasn't dead either. The 10,000 men of Kindergarten seem to be highly sophisticated and maybe even in some levels of government. And they've probably been watching these events unfold the whole time and for centuries in America. They fled their homeland in search of a place where they can practice their religion, and they brought some entity with them. In my very first Changeling video, I said that I suspected a secret organization watching these events unfold and possibly doing experiments on these people. This is not so much of an experiment, but there are secret individuals controlling the variables to get a specific outcome. So I guess you can call this an experiment. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only one irritated with the 29-minute season finale. I mean, that's almost Game of Thrones level disappointment. The only thing that Game of Thrones has over this one is that Game of Thrones kind of built it up for a 7-year period, which actually was a series finale. But I think that the first season finale is just as important. It should be meant to prep us for multiple seasons to come, especially if you haven't finished telling the story. Now, I want to address some of the things that I found in my comment. And I want to start it off by saying this. I have not made one of these videos ever to offend anybody. But I seen a few comments in my last video of people saying that they were disappointed in me and that they were unsubbing due to my lack of respect for the trans community. Because I said this. She speaks about her Jaja or her grandmother being an oracle and making sweets. There's the common theme with the sweets that we've been seeing all throughout this show. There was a guy wearing a dress outside of the donut shop trying to offer her a donut. Her Jaja is who this information was passed down from. Now, that wasn't a jab at anybody's community. That's just what I saw. Hear me out. The narrator said that there was a trans woman that was found stuffed in a mattress in a gold sequin dress. He didn't say when it happened, and we don't know. And we don't know if that was even the same person in front of the donut shop. There are obviously multiple gold sequin dresses. If we see somebody pushing the suitcase to Lillian and they had one of the dresses on and a dress was in the suitcase. So there's obviously multiple dresses. Lillian also points out that her dress fits perfect. So it was obviously hers from that time period. My thing is, if you don't know that the person in front of the donut shop was the trans woman, are you assuming that this person identifies as trans? Because obviously men could wear dresses too and not identify as trans. I said a man in a dress because in the 80s, you would see a lot of men in a dress or drag queens that would frequent places like this in New York City and many other cities across America. So my statement wasn't to offend anybody or call out anybody. I was just simply saying what I saw. And I'm not gonna apologize for that. And if you're gonna unsub my channel because of that, then hey, I enjoyed your company while it lasted. Anyway, just something to think about while we wait on the next episode. That's all for my video today. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.